Welcome to Dive Motorsport. Here with us, we've got a special guest, Zak O'Sullivan. Zak has won the GB3 Championship in 2021, has been a junior driver for Williams for the Williams F1 team, and is a Formula 2 graduate. He's currently driving for Condor Racing in Super Formula and Kaga MKS in Super GT. He's coming off the best results in both these series. Uh, a P7 in Super Formula at Sugo, and his maiden win in Super GT. Hello, Zach. Thank you for finding the time for this. How are you doing?
All good, thank you. No, thanks for having me.
First of all, how did this entire Japan endeavor come about? What made you realize Super Formula and Super GT is where you want to be?
Yeah, to be honest, it came about kind of by chance. As you know, I pulled out of F2 last year due to financial issues. Of course, Formula 2 and levels below that are all kind of pay-to-race series. So the driver has to bring a lot of budget to the team to be able to compete. So actually, it was looking like I wasn't going to be racing anything this year. So yeah, it wasn't looking like a great year. And then last minute, I got a call from the guys at TGR. I was at home in London still, and they said, "Do you want to do a Super Formula test?" I said, "Okay, sure." The only issue was the test had already started, so I literally half an hour later was on the way to the airport, got on a plane, landed, and landed just in time to do the last day of testing in Suzuka. So just one day in the car. At that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to get a seat. And then a few weeks later, I got told clearly I'd impressed in the test, and a Super Formula seat came up with Kondo. And then as for GT, again, very last minute. Actually, I'd already started racing Super Formula, and again, an opportunity came up from TGR to compete in Super GT. The objective, of course, for me was to try and help learn circuits before Super Formula, and also it's a good experience to race in GTs. And yeah, it all came together very last minute, and it's been a successful year so far, which has been great.
If you did not end up at Super Formula and Super GT, where do you see yourself being right now?
I'm not sure. Honestly, it was looking very difficult for me to get a seat. As you know, motorsport is very financially dependent, and yeah, it was looking like I might have a few roles as simulator driver or reserve driver, but I don't think I would have been racing anything full time this year. So yeah, I mean the opportunity from Toyota was incredible. I'm very thankful for that.
How has it been adapting to the world of Japanese motorsport? What are some major differences you find between Japanese racing and the Western ones, like the junior formulas?
Yeah, it's been tough. I think the main thing is that I'm no longer in a junior formula, so my input as a driver has a lot more say on what the team do, which has its pros and cons, of course. Normally in Europe, the team are more controlling over the setup of the car and the direction we go in, and that stems also into F1, of course, because the teams build the car. So as a driver, you give your feedback, but you don't really have the top responsibility to be able to make changes on the car. Whereas in Japan, it's actually very different, where my input can directly lead to a change. So it took a while to get used to that. But like I said, it has pros and cons. The pros is we can get stuff done more efficiently if I believe something's right or wrong. Obviously, the cons are it's on me if it goes wrong. So it's been very interesting and kind of treading between how I manage my weekend in terms of track time and also chasing ultimate performance has been interesting.
How are the Super Formula cars different from the Formula 2 cars in terms of driving style?
Very different. I would say Super Formula relates a lot closer to Formula One. Um, it bridges the gap pretty much perfectly to F1. I think we're around 5 or 6 seconds slower than F1 at Suzuka, and from when I did Formula 2, on average, we were between 10 to 12 seconds slower than F1 at circuits similar to that. So it bridges the gap. The main thing is a lot more downforce in Super Formula. We have power steering as well. So the driving style is more kind of focused on carrying minimum speed and using the downforce you have. It's a lot more of an attacking driving style compared to Formula 2, where it's a heavy car. You probably focus a lot more on kind of Ving the corners off rather than carrying outright speed. And of course, the main nuance of Formula 2 is, of course, the tyres. We have high degradation Pirelli tyres, so it takes a while to to get used to that, whereas Super Formula is full push in the race.
The overtake system, the OTS, is very different from the DRS you've been used to in the junior formulas. How has it been adapting to the OTS system, and which one would you prefer as a racing driver?
It's been different because, to be honest, in the first race of the season, I got really caught out by it because the OTS system probably a bit different to maybe IndyCar, which also has a similar system. We have a cool down period, so once you use, even if I turn it on by accident for a second, if I turn it off, I have 100 seconds I can't use it. So actually in Suzuka, I was reacting to another car using it, and then I turned it off, and then I got done down the next straight because I was out of in my kind of cool down period. So it's a lot more tactical, and I really like it because you can have a strategy to your race. It's like a second strategy. You know, in F2 you might save tires, but in Super Formula you can save tires and save OTS. So yeah, it's been interesting to use, and the main thing for me is you never get these kind of DRS trains. Of course, the DRS is very effective, but a lot of the time everyone has the same tool, so you can get stuck in these DRS trains where nothing really happens, and for me the OTS combats that quite well.
You don't have the experience at these Japanese circuits that these native Japanese drivers do. Have you been trying anything to make up for that lack of experience?
Honestly, there's not too much I can do. The team, for example, we don't have a simulator I can use. So, I mean, I know the tracks from iRacing and I watch some onboards, but yeah, the main thing is how quickly I just adapt in the moment and when I arrive at the circuit. So far, I found the tracks that probably require a bit more commitment, like Suzuka, Sugo, or Topolis, have been easier for me. The tracks that are more technical, I've struggled at a bit more. I struggled quite a lot with Motegi and Fuji as well, to be honest. Just because I feel like you can get a lot closer to the pace with a lot of confidence and kind of bravery in some of the smaller circuits, the tighter circuits. Whereas the technical tracks, you just need experience of driving the circuit, and there's kind of less obvious areas to lose time. So yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a big learning curve. For sure, it's a bit harder in Super Formula to be on it straight away because the cars are so much faster. In Super GT, it's not so bad because the cars are a bit slower and you have a bit more kind of chance to adapt as it's lower speed. Whereas Super Formula, you need to be on it very quickly to be on the pace.
Has the language barrier been a big hurdle, and what are some challenges that you face due to the language barrier?
It's been a big problem, to be honest. It's something that I didn't really anticipate before coming to Japan, purely because it's not something I've experienced before. But it has been a challenge. I think the main difference compared to maybe other languages is that Japanese and English don't translate well at all. There's a lot of actual differences in the language, and a lot of Japanese, as I've learned now, a lot of Japanese is kind of done to how you interpret it in the sentence. So it's something I'm still working on. I'm still trying to find the kind of right people around me to make sure that the detail I give in my feedback is recited correctly to the team. I'm lucky enough in Super GT that a few of the team members speak perfect English, and I can communicate with them on the radio. In Super Formula, it's still a bit of a struggle, as I said, but we're working on it. You know, I think it's a really important aspect of racing in Japan as a foreigner.
I've been told you still live in the UK. How does that whole arrangement work? How often do you find yourself traveling to Japan?
Quite a lot. The reason I'm still in the UK is because I have some commitments here still, and also because of how late the decisions were made, of course, to race in Japan this year, like I mentioned earlier. So I didn't really have a chance to organise anything. It's been okay. The last month was very busy, but yeah, I have enough downtime still, and I've got used to the 14-hour flight. It feels like 2 hours by now, so it's not too bad. But the calendars are organised in such a way that a lot of the races of GT and Super Formula are quite close together, which is ideal for me because it means that I can stay out for kind of 2 or 3 weeks at a time and complete some races.
Let's talk about Super GT for a bit. First of all, congratulations on your win at Suzuka. Kaga MKS is a brand new team. You're a rookie. Your teammate Kobayashi is only in his second year. Was that win ever in your list of expectations? And how did it feel to be on top of the podium?
No, it wasn't in my expectation. I thought Super GT was going to be a much tougher year than Super Formula, actually, and it kind of turned out to be the opposite. Um, yeah, I mean, again, I think everything this year with me has been very last minute. The team we missed all of the testing, so we only got um, one day basically in Fuji because the first day was too wet to drive. So one day of testing and straight into the first season. We were also a bit behind on the tire specification to start with, but yeah, once we got everything aligned in Fuji, the first kind of Fuji round, we've been really fast. Obviously, the Ferrari is a proven car in Super GT, and yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been great working with Riccolo, my teammate. He's been super fast as well, and yeah, we've been working well as a team to try and be at the front.
Now on to Super Formula. Your best finish so far has been the seventh place finish at Sugo. Is there something specific about that circuit?
Yeah, it's maybe similar to what I mentioned earlier in that the higher speed circuits I find slightly easier to get up to speed. I think Suzuka, I was in Q2 and was fighting for the top 10 in both races. Autopolis, I made a mistake in the race, but again in qualifying, I was in the fight for the front. Um, and Sugo is a very similar circuit in that sense, a bit more old school. So I felt more comfortable there. I need to work out how I can replicate that across the whole season, of course. But yeah, it was definitely a step forward. Of course, the next step for me is to try and replicate something like that in Fuji and continue that progression because yeah, I definitely want to improve in Super Formula and try and do a better job for the team.
Sugo was a wet wheel race. Has your experience racing in Britain in GB3 helped you there?
Yeah, it's I've always really enjoyed the wet and probably been always very strong in the wet. And yeah, Sugo, the pace was strong. The strange thing is that in Japan in the summer it's very warm, so it will be monsoon rain but still 30-degree temperatures. So it's quite a strange condition. So even if we're aquaplaning on track, we're still trying to cool down the wet tires because they're overheating. So it's nothing like I've driven before really in the wet. Just due to the climate, it's a very strange kind of feels like you're in a rainforest.
Before Sugo, it was the Fuji doubleheader, and you struggled a bit there. Is there something specific for that slump in performance? Or?
I'm not too sure. We struggled. We had the Fuji test, and as a team, both me and Kenta, we struggled a lot with the balance of the car. And no matter what we did, we seemed to have the same sort of issues. Um, and unfortunately, that just translated into the race weekend. I didn't execute the cleanest weekend either, but yeah, as a team, we struggled quite a lot, and I'm still not too sure why. We have changes for sure to make that we're going to make for the next Fuji round. So hopefully that will recover some of that kind of deficit. But yeah, it's something I don't fully understand, and I want to understand further before we go to Fuji again.
Your other points finish this season comes at Suzuka. What are your expectations for the season finale there?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Suzuka. It's probably the track along with Fuji I've driven the most. It's a track I really enjoyed, and so far this season, when it's been slightly colder, we've seemed to be better. We seem to be able to fire the tires on better than some of our competitors, which is useful. And yeah, in November it's going to be very cold in Suzuka. So yeah, I'm looking forward to go back there. It's an amazing circuit, of course, and a track I really enjoy.
Your teammate Kenta Mashita he's obviously very experienced. How helpful has he been in getting you acclimated to the series?
Yeah, really good. He's got better through the year purely because his English is getting better through the year, which is very useful for me. But yeah, he's been very useful, and not only is he experienced in Super Formula, but he spent 8 or 9 years with Kondo as well. So he knows everyone very well. He knows the characteristics of the car, so it's a really good reference for me in driving style as well. Because of course every car is slightly different, and you need a different approach. So it's a very good reference for me to try and learn from.
Are your ambitions for Super Formula and Super GT a little more long term, or do you just see yourself doing this for a few years and going back to the West?
I'm not sure. I think the last few years have taught me just take opportunities that come. There's no guarantee you're going to be racing every year, right? So probably looks like, or at least I want to stay in Japan next year to compete in both championships again. I think for sure I can deliver a a better season in Japan. And I want to kind of prove that. And I've really enjoyed this year in Japan. It's a different style of racing, and yeah, for sure, it's somewhere I'd like to at least spend some of my years of my career racing in.
There's a very close fight between Shotsuboi Kakunishinoda and Ayumu Iwasa for the title. Who's your money on for the championship this year?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I'm thinking of the tracks we have left. I would say my money's on Tsuboi, but I think it's between Tsuboi and Iwasa, because Tom's has been very strong at Fuji, and Showa's had very good race pace, and then Suzuka is normally a Mugen track. There's always a Mugen first or second on the grid, so yeah, for sure it'll be tight. You know, there's a reason all three of them are so close. So yeah, hopefully I can get involved with fighting at the front a bit more, because at the moment I only watch them on the TV.